So as we heard from Soo-young, in a moment, President Yoon and First Lady Kim Do-yeon will be hosted by Dutch King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima for a welcoming ceremony in Dam Square, Amsterdam. We'll take you to the scene. Our presidential office correspondent Kim Do-yeon joins me in the studio. Hi, Do-yeon.
Hello, good to be here.
Good to have you here. What do we expect from the ceremonial welcome?
Well, as we know, this is his 7th state visit of the year, so we know the protocols by now, and each country, of course, have their own touches of the welcoming ceremony. But what we expect, as we've heard briefly from Soo-young, is that there will be an introduction of the delegation. There also will be 21 rounds of blank artillery shots at the ceremony. Also, the Marine Band of the Royal Netherlands Navy will be playing the national anthems of the both countries, and we'll see some inspection of the guards at the
inspection
scene.
of honors, right. And President Yoon is the first Korean leader to pay a state visit to the Netherlands since a bilateral diplomatic relations was established. It's a relation that has lasted for over 6 decades. How significant is his trip?
Right, it's the first one by a South Korean president, and the two countries have over 60 years bilateral ties. And it's important to note that Netherlands has the second highest trade volume with South Korea among the EU countries. That's a significant amount, and considering the size of Netherlands, and of course, President, you mentioned the focal point is the semiconductor and the cooperation. So that's also very significant at this point where South Korea is trying to create a resilient supply chain, especially in the semiconductor industry. And I do want to make a note that the state visit invitation to Netherlands was the first state visit invitation that Yoon received, actually. It was during his visit to Madrid for NATO summit in June of 2022. So this is a highly anticipated visit, one that's been coming for about a year and a half.
And Do-yeon, the Netherlands is home to ASML, a leading semiconductor equipment producer. And President Yoon is set to make a trip to its headquarters during his state visit, during which the Dutch king will accompany him along with South Korean Samsung Electronics Lee Jae-yong and SK's Choi Tae-won. What significance does this state visit have in terms of a triple alliance?
Right. So ASML holds a key technology in EUV equipment. Now, all semiconductor producers will need this equipment to make their equipment produce chips, and it's imperative that they have good relationship with ASML. Now, South Korea, while being a big producer of chips, is still behind in equipment and key materials. So it is important that South Korean companies, especially Samsung and SK leaders, visit or join Yoon in this trip and visit. And also there's going to be a visit to the clean room, and we'll see President Yoon maybe in a coverall and kind of look through the scenes there. So it's important that President Yoon takes a lead and kind of build a bridge between ASML and Korean producers as they try to get more market share in the global scenes.
Now, let's go straight to Dam Square in Amsterdam, where Dutch King Willem-Alexander is receiving the South Korean first couple. There you see President Yoon Suk-yeol and First Lady Kim Do-yeon. They just arrived and are ceremonially welcomed by King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima. Looks like the honor guards are ready for the ceremonial welcome. we heard the national anthems of the Republic of Korea and the Netherlands. So Do-yeon, while we're waiting for the ceremonial procedures, just give us a recap. What do we expect from the ceremonial welcome?
Right now, we're past the national anthems. So he's expected to do the inspection of the guards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there, I believe there will be a salute of 21 guns being fired to welcome the South Korean leader.
Not sure if the microphone will or has caught that, but
and now
there's going to be 21 rounds.
Yes, and now the Dutch king and the visiting South Korean president are inspecting the guards of honor. Let's take a look here. So President Yoon's visit to the Netherlands comes as South Korea and the Netherlands mark 62 years, as Do-yeon, you just said, of their diplomatic relations. President Yoon is the first South Korean leader to pay a state visit to this country since South Korea established diplomatic ties with the Netherlands in 1961. And over past 60 years, Seoul has developed cooperation with Amsterdam in trade. Now they're eyeing to deepen their cooperation in semiconductors, arms industry, energy, nuclear power, and other cutting-edge technologies. For those who are just tuning in, you are watching the South Korean president and the Dutch king inspecting the guards of honor. Tell us more. What can you tell us about the two countries looking forward to creating a semiconductor dialogue channel for their chip alliance? We also expect them to upgrade their strategic partnership to the next level.
Right. As President Yoon has emphasized before his trip, it's also notable that he mentioned this during a meeting of arms industry export for South Korea. He said semiconductor is a key part to cutting-edge technology and kind of the basis behind some of the core technology for defense systems. So that's also a reason why he finds this trip to Netherlands very important at this point for South Korea's resilient supply chain for producing semiconductors.
And I want to talk about the Stam Square, the place, the venue. It's a town square in Amsterdam, the most populated city of the Netherlands, also the capital city. On the west side of the square, there's a royal palace, a royal residence, and on the opposite side of the square, which there is a national monument to which we believe President Yoon and King Willem-Alexander will later pay a visit together, and they honor the victims of the World War II. Looks like the leaders just are entering the royal palace in Amsterdam. They will be attending a royal reception, later followed by a private lunch with the king and queen. And there you see children are now welcoming the South Korean first couple. We believe they are
Korean school students.
Korean school students learning Korean alphabet Hangul in that country, in the Netherlands. Am I right, Do-yeon?
That's right. It was expected for him to go and say hello to the kids there. I also want to note that Netherlands is also known for very tall men. And we can see that King Willem-Alexander is very tall.
Yeah. And later, they will be laying a wreath at the National Monument in Dam Square, and I believe they will also visit the headquarters of ASML, as we heard from Soo-young, the supplier of technology for semiconductor manufacturing using lithography equipment. It's a key export product to Korea. And in the evening, the Dutch king and queen will host a state banquet at the Royal Palace in Amsterdam. We expect the Korean president and the king deliver an address.
Dit is jouw foto, Koen.
Ja joh, ga lekker doorgaan man.
Yeah, dat ook nog. Well, tell us, what more cooperation do we expect in terms of culture and people-to-people exchanges?
Right. According to the top office, they're looking to expand the number of working holiday visas with Netherlands, and that's a very usual move from this government, this administration, as they tend to focus on the younger generations when it comes to people-to-people exchanges. So that is also a very key aspect. And also, Netherlands is known for its food exports, and smart farm technology could be a way to cooperate. And a lot of Korean companies are jumping into smart farm technology. We've seen with other countries that President Yoon signed MOUs with. So that's also another form of cooperation to be an area to be deepened.
Right, the Dutch monarch and the visiting South Korean first couple are slowly walking. They're entering the palace, the royal palace. It looks like the reception is just about to start. Right, so that was the welcoming ceremony hosted by the Dutch King and Queen receiving the South Korean first couple for a state visit. Do-yeon, what's in store for the president for the rest of his schedule, the 5-day trip?
Right, and I can't stress this enough. He's going to visit the ASML headquarters. That's a key part of this trip with the Dutch King. Now, there's also a banquet hosted by the King at the palace coming up after that. For Wednesday, he's set to visit The Hague. He's set to meet with prominent Dutch politicians, including the Prime Minister, and we'll be able to discuss diplomatic efforts to enhance bilateral cooperation. The Hague is also home to historical sites that are related to South Korea, or Korea in general, such as the Ritterzaal and Ijin Peace Museum, which President Yoon will visit. There's also a business forum back at Amsterdam, and a Korean cultural performances, which is a customary for a state visit for the leader that's visiting for a state visit to host.
Our presidential office correspondent Kim Do-yeon, thank you for your time.
Thank you.